Flight boss, bitch. You know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And like I said, you're not animals. You're not humans. Homo sapiens, whatever they call it, whatever like that. We are all stars. You just may be a star that's vibrating on a certain frequency and riding a certain color wave. You see what I'm saying? But you are not these colors. These colors and these shapes and forms just play out certain energies. And your spirit may take these shapes and forms in order to experience that. But for the most part, the universe is in your hands. Now, you could go to my video as me explaining the positive and the negative truly don't exist. And it's a made-up concept that can be used as a tool. The positive and negative, the give and receive, that don't exist. But these are things that we created in a higher dimension or have received this information from a higher dimension, right, in order for us to use it as a tool. But these are concepts brought upon you from an external realm of reality. So they truly don't exist. I like to talk about where things derived from, where energetic forces came from. And that give and receive, positive and negative, and force and magnetism derived from expansion and contraction. Now we finna talk a little bit about the parameter of God and how you have the universe in your hands. You see what I'm saying? Now, look at this. This is the universe. You are the universe. And you know everything is expanding and contracting. And this is where everything is being derived from. So for the most part, this is where people get their science from. So you see a contraction. Now this expansion can be an expansion of idea, but then contraction. Now, this is where people want to say, they want to go way back and say it's a give and receive. No, this is an expansion contraction. So it's start of one thing. So check this out. Within that expansion, contraction, you get the first life experience, time, right? Then now the expansion creates the realm of reality. Remember, the parameter is not a wall. It doesn't know it's a wall. It doesn't know that's a place or location. It's creating it as it go, as an experience. So that expansion, boom. You see the experience with that, the wideness, the circumference of it, then the contraction. Now, the energy force of where it was just expanded at is still there. That's still an energetic frequency vibration. So with the contraction here, the contraction is the portion of the experience that is known, that is possible, or it could be capable of expanding that far. So the next expansion is depending on the spirit or depending on the actual being that's expanding and contracting. The next level of expansion, whether if the expansion go further or if it don't go as far or if it stay in the same parameter, this going to determine, this plays out in your life as circumstances, situations, and experiences and information that you gain. And did you overcome those experiences, or did you let it succumb you, or did you go under? So if you overcame it, that plays out as your spirit or your idea or imagination, or let's go to God in the parameter. That'll play out as you expanded further than you expanded the first time. Now, if you stayed just in the same pattern, then your source of expansion went to the same parameter. It didn't stretch out further, or it didn't go in smaller. It stayed in the same parameter. So you see what I'm saying? That'll play out in your life as you doing the same pattern or something like that. Then a contraction, right? Say you expanded, but you didn't even go as far as the first time you expanded. So that means you went up under. You got scared of an experience, or you are around people, places, and things that's steering your direction down the wrong path, and you're not expanding yourself, or you're not understanding what's going on. So you may go through a lot of depression, a lot of stress, going through a lot of experiences of not getting your way. You see what I'm saying? So now look at it like this, back from a God perspective. Now, let's say the expansion get bigger. Contraction, expansion, bigger. Now, the bigger the expansion, This is creating time scale. So the bigger the expansion, the longer it takes to contract back to where it's contracted. You see what I'm saying? So boom, boom, you get wiser. Boom, 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 you get bigger. Boom. So it'll play out as experiences, imagination, thought in your life. Boom. And let's look at this as the overall. Now look, now within this expansion and contraction, now this expansion, it got so wide that it take way longer to contract. Now, way longer is made up. That's a made up concept, what I just said, because of the time that we're in. But just think about it like this. If something has expanded very wide and you are a mini version of this contraction and expansion, then you won't never, in your lifetime, your shape and form, you won't experience the time of contracting. You probably won't even experience the time scale of the expansion based upon how small you are within this body. See what I'm saying? So, say this expansion and this contraction, that might have been 5,000 years compared to your realm of reality. You see what I'm saying? Or 100,000 years or a billion years, depending on what kind of vessel you have. So you had to really been taking vessels to understand this knowledge. Now, boom, expansion, contraction. Now, within that time frame of expansion and contraction, based upon the frequency and vibration that's consistent with this expansion and contraction, you get, now let's look, expand, right? You're going to get in this location, this location, this location is all vibrating on different frequencies, and they all relative in different spaces within each other. So you start to get many expansion and contractions out of that one big expansion. Now once it expanded real wide, that one became a source and expand real wide, it becomes time that a lot of other things in between it could take that same nature, take that same heartbeat nature within it. And you have one in this location, and this location, and this location, and this location, and they all different relative to their own perspective. Then you have ones that can do that's smaller within them. You know what I'm saying? But remind you, they're still all within the big old expansion. And that big old expansion has a time that is contracting also. But since you may be a life form that stay in that one, you may not experience the expansion and contraction. You may only experience levels of expansion and contraction based upon how small you are or the things that's relative to you. AKA, you are a human now, where I don't agree to the terms and conditions, but you are a star right now, and you are amongst other people who have heartbeats and pulses and things of that nature, and you can perceive an expansion and contraction on your level. But on a large level, you may not be able to perceive it, but you know that's what's going on. See what I'm saying? This is how you understand facts. You need to forget the words and the language. You need to understand what the energy is doing. And once you understand where the energy is doing, you need to understand where the energy came from. And once you know where the energy came from, then you can go to that astral realm and see who made it. No matter what, you could go back to the future, go to the, you know what I'm saying? You could be doing all kind of shit. You could go and you could travel through all times and see where this actual was initiated from. And you can see if it came from a real God, or a real demigod, or a lord, or something like that, or did it come from the overall? See, this expansion and contraction came from the overall. This give and receive concept, positive and negative, came from a lord, came from a god. You see what I'm saying? Came from a demi, something under. You know what I'm saying? Just because something above you, that don't mean it's not up under something. That's what religious people really need to understand also. But I'm just here trying to free y'all motherfucking minds. You see what I'm saying? Out of the kindness of my heart. For we can really start seeing these realities for what they really are. You know? So, for the most part, you got the universe in your hands. You see expansion and contracting every day. And I explained in my video how you can see, like I basically explained how you can see how positive and negative, where that energy came from. It came from contraction and expansion. And then, since it's a filter and illusion, it gets perceived in its own way, to the point that people get lost in that, to the point that expansion created the negative portion, But y'all look at expansion as positive in y'all realm of reality. Contraction, you see what I'm saying, created the negative, but y'all look at that as positive. Hold on, I might have mixed that up, but y'all get what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? The expansion created the negative, but y'all look at that as positive. The contraction created the positive, but y'all look at that as negative. See? You see what I'm saying? Y'all, it's mind fucked. Y'all living in reverse in every kind of way. Even when y'all look up and look around, it's in reverse because it's not. You don't have your back turned to it. So you got. The sun is never rising. The sun never rise or set. That's just relative to what y'all trying to perceive it. But we're gonna take it a little step further. Since we know you live in reverse and you live backwards, then when you saying the sun is rising, the sun is actually setting. And when you saying the sun is setting, the sun is actually rising. So you live upside down. So when you look up, that's actually down. So y'all are trying to get to the North Pole and that's going down somewhere. See what I'm saying? Y'all don't understand that kind of concept because y'all ain't been in different realms of realities and understand spirals in different directions. So it goes very deep. You live in reverse. Just like, for an example, you might be watching something or looking at somebody and what they got on look in reverse to you. So they made it in the aspect of it being a reflection. So you can see it relative to you. But a person who got it on, if they look at their letters on their shirt, it will look backwards. Because they don't got their back turned to the shirt to see it like you. So people are already living to prove things they don't even know they're proving. And just think about how many spirits like to use those vessels. And think about how many vessels of those is on the world. Goddamn. Flight boss, bitch.